Yo, what up? Welcome to Mo Boxing No Problem. I am Jose Morales Jr., and I'm joined by my host, Seek. And we have a special guest with us this morning. We have pro boxer Maxi Hughes. How's it going, Maxi?
All good, man. All good.
Glad to hear. Thank you so much for making the time.
No problem.
First question we got for you. I'm sure this is the question you get asked all the time, but it's how did you get into boxing?
How did I get into boxing? So I used to play rugby league. It's a little bit like the American football you guys have here. So rugby league, very very tough physical sport when I was at school, and I had 2 seasons playing that, and then our coach took us to a boxing gym in the pre-season training, and how old was I? I was 14, I think, at the time I was training, and then by the time I decided I wanted to give up rugby league and have a go at boxing, just to have a go, I was 15, and I was just hooked straight away. Because of the rugby. I was fit and I was in shape, and I was used to a rough, tough sport, so that helped me the transition into boxing. And soon as I joined, that were it. I was hooked, and I was 18 years later. I'm still at it.
Yeah, like to say, the rest is history.
Yeah.
Well, how do you get the nickname Maximus?
It's sort of because my real name is Danny. I was born Danny Hughes, and when I turned professional in UK, we filled the forms out and registered myself. They wrote me a letter back saying, "We've already got a boxer in the UK registered with the name Danny Hughes, so you're gonna have to come up with, a stage name, whatever name you want." And my granddad's nickname was Maxi. I just followed on from my granddad, and then obviously Maxi, it's sort of short for Maximus. So it was not something that I chose. It was all my friends and family who come to watch me. They just, I suppose, because it sounds similar and it's short, so they just started chanting Maximus. Like when Maximus is in the Colosseum and the Maximus, Maximus. So it just became a natural thing. They chanted it a lot, and a couple of times I've had some like a DJ remix, some of the Gladiator music and the Gladiator voiceovers. So I've had that, and it's just sort of stuck over years. It's stuck.
Great. Yeah, and a lot of people say boxing is a modern day gladiator, so it
That's
definitely
it.
fit.
Yeah, the name fits, and it is my favorite film. It's a go-to film. I remember when I was 10 years old when it come out, that film in 2000, and it were my mum absolutely loved it, and she just had it on all the time. So I used to just watch it with, and we used to watch it a couple of times a week. So it's just it's just up there as my favorite film.
Absolutely. And then Maxi, can you tell us a bit about your amateur career? What were some of your major accomplishments back in the day?
So never really, I wasn't a standout amateur. When it came to the championships, I always won my local area. And excuse me, sorry.
No worries.
Phone just as I then won the area, progressed. I did okay. I always finish, usually top 5 in the championships, but never managed to get over the line and win the championships. But I took it serious, but I never really had any. I never was like, right, I want to win championship. I just used to take it at a fight at a time. I would take whenever as it is in amateur boxing, my coach might ring me and say, "I've got you a fight. Do you want to fight tomorrow?" And be like, "Yeah, Sam, where we're going?" And they say, "Right, we're going. We're driving 2.5 hours up north or whatever." And yeah, it's just how it was. I was always willing to take any fight. So in total, I had 53 amateur fights and won 35. So I won. I won over half of my fights, and I was always matched really well. I remember, you know, I started out big puncher, so started out, and the guys who had the same amount of fights as me, I was just stopping them. So then, I was especially in the local area, my amateur coach said I was hard to match. So I had to be thrown in deep end. I had to fight all the guys with all the experience, which didn't do me no harm at all. I may have lost, but I always learned from it, and I carried that forward, and that's that's the attitude I had as a professional. The fights that I've lost, I've learned from it and used it as a positive going forward.
Right on.
Gotcha. You had signed with Matchroom in 2021, but have recently parted ways with them. What was your reason for leaving Eddie Herna and Matchroom?
So the reason was I came to the end of my contract, and I was waiting on, my new contract coming. The offer for the new contract came, but what we'd been talking about, what I'd had face-to-face chats with Eddie Hearn with was, the direction that my career wanted to go. He made it very vocal, and we got very close to making the Ryan Garcia fight last year. We were in talks a couple of times. That nearly came off. And so I sort of had an expectation then. Although that fight didn't come off, I thought, right, that's the level of fight that he's going to try and get me. The top guys in the division. And that's what I want. That's felt where this is where I was at in my career. And unfortunately that the offer of the new contract wasn't that, and it wasn't going in that direction. So I just thought, I'm gonna see what I can do myself. So I went around shopping myself, and I got in contact with Lou DiBella, and because I knew he looked after George, and obviously George coming off 2 losses. I didn't know whether he was going to pack in or not, but seeing that he was training and looking for a fight, so I put my name in the hat, and I said I'd have this fight if you guys will, and this is where we are now.
Great. And yeah, let's definitely talk about that. So your upcoming fight scheduled for July 22nd, here in the Fire Lake Arena in Oklahoma versus George Kambosos Jr. It's promoted by Top Rank, and it also marks your U.S. debut. Are you excited to be fighting the U.S. for the first time as a pro?
Yeah, absolutely. It's what every fighter in the UK dreams of. Being top of the bill in America, Top Rank, one of the biggest promotions in the world. So yeah, it's a dream, isn't it? I am literally living a lot of fighters' dream in the UK as well as my own. So it's exciting, and I'm enjoying every minute of it. Yeah.
Great.
Your next opponent is the big name George Kambosos Jr. He's a former unified lightweight champion, once holding 3 of 4 belts. What are some things you see in him that can exploit to beat him?
I'm always underestimated. My last 4 of my last 6 opponents, I was the underdog against. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm not a big mouth. I ain't got massive following. But what I am is just a no nonsense professional. I'm generally a quiet guy. I just get on with job, and I just find a way. I'm very adaptable, so I just believe that come fight night, like always, I will just find a way. It's what I do, and I'm an experienced guy, and I use that experience in the ring. So that's how usually our fight nights go for me. Me and my corner, we take it a round at a time. We make the adjustments that we need to, and we just get the job done.
Right. And then with Devin Haney likely to move up 240 pounds, it's going to free up all the belts at lightweight. If you beat George Kambosos Jr., would the next logical step be a world title opportunity for you?
Yeah, obviously, my IBO belt is on the line for this fight, and it also doubles up as an IBF eliminator. So the natural step would then be see where we are after this fight and the position, um, and going forward, then to make them steps towards that IBF title.
And then Zeke, you're on mute, Zeke.
My bad, guys. Whatever happened with the rumored Ryan Garcia fight, is that something you're still open in the future, considering would you have moved up to 140 pounds to fight him now?
It would. I wouldn't absolutely. I wouldn't rule that out now. But you know, too much ahead. Um, if that offer was to come in after after the George fight, then I would consider it. Yeah, I'd have to sit down with my team and would look at the offer and look at other options and find out which is the best option. My stock, I believe, will go up massively after I've taken care of George next week. Like you said before, George is a massive name, big following, former undisputed champ. So it's gonna put me right up there, and hopefully I get the credit and recognition that I deserve after beating him.
You're 100%. And Maxie, you touched a little bit on your preparation, but do you watch a lot of tape on your opponents and study them before a fight, or do you kind of just focus on you and making improvements to your style?
So I've actually followed George for quite a few years now. Just he's pretty good on social media. Puts a lot of training clips up and that. So his page popped up on my Instagram feed, quite a few, about 5-6 years ago. So I followed his journey from then, and I admire George for what he's done, and especially his big night against Tio in New York as the underdog. Really followed him, and sorry, I've just lost. A message has just come up on my phone. It's just thrown me off. Sorry, just repeat question again. My mind's gone blank.
Yeah, no worries, Maxi. So yeah, the question is, do you study a lot of your opponents? Watch tape on them, or do you kind of focus more on you?
Yeah, so I've followed him, so I know what he's about, and as a boxing fan, I've seen a lot of his last few fights, so I know what George is about. But my coach, he does a lot of the hard studying, the watch, and then every day we'll talk about it, and we'll try things in the gym, and we'll just prepare. So, as a full-time professional now, that my last fight was in end of September last year. I got a bad cut, and generally after a 12-round fight, you get a lot of aches and pains, the body's stiff. So I had a week off, and then I was back in gym. I couldn't spar because of my cut, but it just gives me a chance to work on other areas. So professional boxing is my job. I take it seriously, and I'm in the gym every day, always learning, trying new things, working on different things. So it all, so come fight night, I'm an all right. I've covered all areas. I've worked on every individual area and tried new things, and always and in sparring, we don't spar specific people to try and match our opponent's style. We're happy to spar all different styles, all different stances, southpaw and orthodox. So it's just trying to become an all more rounded fighter, and that's the way we approach all fights.
That's great.
What would you say has been your best moment in sport of boxing so far?
For me, when I won the British title, when I turned professional, I never really had major goals. I was sort of happy to call myself a professional fighter. But then after a couple of years, I started sparring the current, at the time, the current British super featherweight champion, and then seeing him on telly doing these 12-round fights for that British title. Like, in our country, the most prestigious belt is the British title, and it's a beautiful looking belt, and that was my goal. Right, I just want that British title, and 2 of the fights I'd lost was for that belt. So then the opportunity come, and my opportunity come with only 4 weeks' notice. So again, I was working hard in gym, no fight date, and then I got a phone call. Somebody had dropped out of the British title fight in my weight, and they needed an opponent. So I got the phone call 4 weeks before the fight, and I jumped it. I thought, this is my dream to win this British title, and I'm taking this opportunity. Even though at 4 weeks' notice, I was still fit. I was ready. When I took that chance, I stopped the guy in the 8th round. And I achieved my dream. It was a bit surreal because it was still during COVID. It was early 2021. So there wasn't many people there at all. It were pretty much an empty arena. But to finally get my hands and call that my title, it were a very, very special moment in my career. And a really close second to that was winning the IBO in my next fight, because with the first fight where crowds were allowed back in, it were at a stadium in the UK. I was a massive, massive underdog, and I put on a major boxing display and shocked a lot of people. So that was up there. But I think for me, I'd been chasing that British title for years and years. So when I'd finally got my hands on that, that was probably the most special night in my career.
Great. And Maxi, I mean, your story is incredible. You're living proof that losses don't define you. I mean, you climb all the way back to the top, and got the British title in the third opportunity. But what would you say you have learned, from those losses? No one wants to lose, but they do say there's lessons in losses at times.
Yeah, it always questioned. I always questioned, how much do I want this? Do I really need this heartache? But I think without realizing it, I think I get it from my mother, just showing just how much of a hard person she is, and so mentally strong and resilient. I think that's what it's learnt me. As well as everything in life, not just boxing. Life's not easy. Life throws things at you, and things could be going good, then something pops up and it can get you down. But it's just life, and I've learned through experience, as well as from the losses in life. Nothing goes smoothly all the time. So when something bad happens, you just got to go, right, that's happened. What can we do differently next time? Right, let's go. Let's just carry on moving forward. Let's carry on working hard, get our head down, and go forward, and just keep working hard. And if the saying, if you want something bad enough, keep going until you get it. And I'm a true believer in that, and that's sort of my mentality. And I think that's what's helped me in life with the losses and just going forward. It's nothing can really stop you if you really want it that bad. So you just got to dig in, take a good hard look at yourself, and be honest. And just get your head down and get cracked on.
Very well said.
I know we all, you guys as boxers, fighters, you guys face many opponents or in sparring or in the ring, such as power and levels and power. But what do you say has been your the strongest puncher you faced?
Strongest punch, I would say, probably Giovanni Straffon, who I won for the IBO. Mexican, very tough, very durable, and he could really punch. And it was just a couple of months before I fought him. He came to the UK, I think, on 2 weeks' notice, and fought a guy from Belfast called James Tennyson, who was, there was really Eddie Hearn and Matchroom were really pushing forward and talking about the guy who was going to be coming to the States and having these big fights with the likes of Tank and the champions at the time, because James Tennyson was a real big power puncher. And I myself have sparred James quite a lot of times. We're very friendly with James and his team. He has retired now. So Giovanni Straffon, his power in the fight, but then in terms of power I felt while I was sparring, I would say it was James Tennyson. His power is the kind of power that is the same in the first round as it is in the last round. You've always got to be on the ball. can't make no mistakes. So yeah, Straffon and Tennyson are the hardest punchers I would say I've been sparring and fighting with.
Great. And then Maxi, who was your favorite boxer growing up?
So growing up, it wasn't until the only boxer I'd really heard of. What up until I started playing rugby was in classics Lennox, Tyson, Roberto Duran, Floyd Mayweather, and then as I really got into boxing and really started taking it seriously and studying it, um, I have I have five fighters. I can't choose one, so I've got Mayweather, Pacquiao, Toro Gatti, Roberto Duran, and Juan Manuel Marquez. They're the guys that if I want to watch some boxing, I'll go on YouTube and usually type one of their names in. But they're the top five. But there's so many that I enjoy watching. For people like Evander Holyfield, love watching him. Riddick Bowe, the Fabulous Four. There's just so many, but them top five, they are my top five. But there is, I am a boxing fan, and I enjoy watching a lot, especially the old fights.
Absolutely, can't go wrong with any of those names.
Yeah.
This is an interesting question here. Who is your number one pound for pound fighter among active fighters?
So if I had to choose one now, I would say Alexander Usyk. Absolutely love watching him. Same with Loma, and obviously they're very similar. They come through the training together, being southpaws. The both of them are guys that I like watching and trying to learn things and seeing how they do things. So I would definitely say I would put Usyk there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Maxi, coming back to you, what do you like to do outside of boxing? What are some of your interests and hobbies?
I enjoy playing golf. I'm not very good at it, but I like playing it. I absolutely love spending time. Obviously, number one is spending time with my two kids and my wife. We've just recently moved January this year to as we would say, our forever home. So I enjoy little DIY projects. Fixing things in the house, mending things, and building things, especially building play areas and things for kids. Um, Enjoy riding motorbikes. Bit of all sorts, bit of an all rounder. I like cycling. But yeah, obviously, top one is spending time with my kids.
Awesome, and congratulations on your forever home, Maxi.
Thank you, thank you.
What is the best piece of advice you would give to someone who is thinking about going pro and making a career out of the sport of boxing?
Work hard and take the opportunities when they come, and don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to throw yourself in the deep end. I feel like that's what I did as an amateur and a pro, and as long as you've got the right mindset and the mentality, um, then you can't go wrong with that.
Well
Yeah.
said. Well said.
And the final question we got for you, Maxi, it's not really a question. It's more so opening up the floor to you. What's something you want to say to your fans and supporters?
I'm just grateful, over years. I've been a professional now 13 years, and especially these last couple of years when I've sort of been on the big shows and the big screen. I get a lot of support, which I'm really really grateful for. I've got two really good sponsors, Justin and Louise at Hunters Weatherby, Tom Danby and all his family and his company at DBG Group. I'm really really grateful for their support to allow me to be a full time fighter and live my dream, and all the support. And hopefully now we're making my US debut to be, all the new US fans that are going to see me, and hopefully they enjoy watching me, and get this fight won next Saturday against George, and I look forward to coming and back fighting here.
Absolutely. Maxi, again, thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure to get to know you and talk boxing. We look forward to seeing you on the big stage as the main event.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for having me on.
There you
No
go.
problem. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.
Thank you. Cheers, guys. Bye.
All right. Cheers. Bye.